What you guys got another video? Can you run a server on a mini PC like this one? This is a pretty budget mini PC from Blackview, and we'll take a look at what you get inside the box. You're just going to get your mini PC, your power adapter, HDMI cable, a screw, and your user manual. I think there is a VESA mount in here as well. I'm not 100% sure. It might be on the back of the actual mini PC. But again, this is exactly what you're going to get. Pretty budget mini PC, but it should do exactly what you want it to do. It's got Windows 11 Pro pre-installed on here, but we're going to be putting Proxmox on here and running this as a server just to show you. So this is the MP60 version with an M150 Twin Lake processor in it from Intel, 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage on here. So this is a 4-core, 4 threads, 6 megabytes of internal smart cache as well. And this is only a 6 watts TDP, which makes it super low powered. So I'm hoping it's going to be able to run Proxmox. So let's take a look at the actual unit itself. On this side, we have nothing here. It's just plastic. The actual main PC is made of plastic. So we do have a power button here and a couple of USB 3.0 ports on here, and also a USB 2.0 port. So plenty of ports for plugging in all of your devices like your keyboard and mouse, external hard drives and stuff like that. On the front, you can do that right there. We also have some ports on the back, which we'll take a quick look at as well. So on the back here, so that is on the actual side, the front panel, instead of on the front. But you can see here on the back of the unit, we have a power input here, USB 2.0 port, HDMI 2.0s, and also 1 gigabit Ethernet port, and also Kensington lock and that mic input right there as well. I think there is a VESA mount included in the box, but I didn't find it in there, so maybe under the bottom part of it. But you can install a 2 terabyte SSD there. This one is pretty dusty. I've got it off my shelf, but I'm just going to go ahead and screw that back down. Now, you can also take the bottom off like this and gain access if you remove these little rubber feet right here. And this will give you access to 4 screws, and this will give you access to the actual internal part of the actual mini PC. So let me quickly go ahead and show you that. So we'll quickly remove the screw so we can gain access to inside, and we can take a look at the internals of this mini PC. So let me just go ahead and remove this right here. And hopefully there's no cable there. There is a cable there, so I'll just move that to the side. And there we go, we've got access to inside. So the Rayson drive in here is what the drive is. We do have a cooling system right here, which is nice to see rather than just a big heat sink. And I'm assuming that the memory is probably under that cooling area right there. And I'll take a look on their website to see whether this is upgradable, but it does have 16 gigabytes of RAM in here. It does have Wi-Fi 6, and it also has that N150 CPU in here, which is 4 cores, 4 threads. So this drive can be upgraded. It's only 512 gigabytes this version, but again, you can upgrade this one. There is a SATA port on there as well, I can see. And again, we can have that 2 terabyte internal 2.5 inch drive in here, which you can put on. So these are the actual main specs right here. Bluetooth 4.2, I can see there. You have very quiet use on this because it's very low power as well. And again, it does look like there is RAM modules there on that large memory right here, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Or does that mean it's surface mounted? I really don't know. I haven't going to take the cooler off in this video, but I'll investigate that a little bit later on, and I'll try and leave that in the video description. So let's get this all set up so we can boot up our Proxmox. So I've got a capture card on here. I've got a USB flash drive with Proxmox on it, and I've also got my keyboard and mouse, got the power and also HDMI cable, and I've also got Ethernet plugged into this as well. So let's go ahead and head over to Proxmox website here, and you can read the specifications. Pretty low specifications here. I'm going to hit the downloads page here, and we'll go ahead and we're going to download Proxmox VE 8.4 ISO installer right here. And once we get this downloaded, we can use something like Rufus to basically create our bootable media, so we can boot up to that and basically install it onto the system. So this is Rufus right here. You can go to Rufus's website and download this. I'm going to select the Proxmox ISO, and you'll see this little box popping up right here, as you can see. And I'm just going to click OK here. And then what we're going to do is it should give us the settings that we need right here, as you can see. And I'm going to leave that as is, and we're just going to click Start here. And this will then start It's going to erase all the data on that USB flash drive. So if you've got any data on there, now's the time to cancel. Otherwise, it will erase all of that data. It's going to start writing the Proxmox image to the USB flash drive. And once it's complete, it should look something like this. Click close. Now we're going to boot into the BIOS of the mini PC. That's normally done by tapping F2 or delete key on the keyboard when you power the actual mini PC up. You can see the specifications right there on the screen for this particular mini PC. We've already gone through those. But what we need to do is change the boot order to boot to the USB flash drive. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need to go to the boot tab here, and we will then change that. I'm just going to go through here and just show you some of the specifications on the BIOS. And there we go. There's the boot tab. And all we need to do is change the hard disk for Windows, because we're going to be overwriting that and putting Proxmox on here. I'm going to choose our USB flash drive right here. Click Save and Exit up the top. Save changes and exit. And this will then basically boot to our USB flash drive. So let's go ahead and do that. And there we go. There is Proxmox. So we can install Proxmox VE graphical and click on this one right here. So let's go ahead and do that right here and push enter. And this will open up a black screen. As you can see, load of text going up. Don't worry about that. That's pretty normal. Once that's fully loaded up, you should see something looking like this, which is the Proxmox terms and conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and agree to those. And you can read those at your own leisure if you wish. But let's go ahead and click I agree. And now we can choose our drive, a target hard disk that we want to use. Obviously, I don't want to put that on the 2 terabyte. I'm going to put this on the 512 gigabyte drive here. So I'm going to use that drive here for installation. So let's go ahead and click next. Move on to the next stage. Here we've got our country. So again, choose which country you live in. You can just start typing inside here, and it should give you the list coming up right here. So obviously we don't live in Ukraine. We live in the United Kingdom. So there we go. There's the United Kingdom right here. And you can leave that as is. Click next and move on to the next window. Give it yourself a password here. So choose a strong password. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. So I've put the password in and my email address right here. Click next. And again, you should see the management interface. That's your network card. It's got a green light next to it, which tells me it's working. We can change the host name here, IP address, and gateway and DNS server. I'm going to leave those as is and just change the host name. But you can configure yours how you like. I'm going to put getproxy.com in there, and I'm going to leave the other settings as is. And then once we've got that set, we can now click on next and move on to the next screen. The next screen will just give you a summary of all the settings that you've got configured right here. So what we're going to do is automatically reboot by leaving a check mark at the bottom. Click on install, and this will start to install Proxmox onto our designated drive that we chose. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to create all the partitions and get everything prepared for us. This will take a bit of time, so be patient, but we're just going to let that install. I shall speed this process up so it don't take too long. And then once we've done this, we should see an IP address right on here for our final settings, so we can log on any other computer on our local network. So you can see there's the IP address and the port. So I'm going to go head over to my computer and we're going to sign in to that. But first, before you do that, boot back into your BIOS and change the boot order from your USB flash drive back to the actual Proxmox NVMe drive or drive that you've installed Proxmox on. And you should see something looking like this once it's fully booted up. Once you've changed the boot order back, so you will need to go into your BIOS and change the boot order back if you changed it. You can see right here, there is our IP address, and we have also our login, so we can log in now onto another computer. So I'm going to jump over to the desktop PC right here, go to our browser, and we're going to type in that IP address what it just told us to type in. And what we'll do is we will put the port. So let's go ahead and put that in right here, which it's told us to do. Press enter, and this should populate onto the screen right here saying your connection is not private. That's fine. Click advanced and go down to proceed. And it will say unsafe, but it is safe because it's your network. So all you need to do here is put your username in. I'm going to put root in here and the password that you use to set up your account. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Click login, and you should now be Okay, so we are now here. So it just says you don't have a valid subscription. Just click OK right here. And all we need to do right here, right now, is you can see there is our Proxmox setup. We've got our drive there, and we can configure this to how you like. So I will show you some basic stuff on here. I'm not going to go too crazy, but we'll just get it up and running and get it working, and we'll install, say, Zorin OS or something like that on here onto a virtual machine container, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and take a look. There's our storage right here, and we can take a look at configuring this right here, right now, because we're not using the full space of our main initial local drive right here. If we look at the drive right here, you can see it's only using 100 gigabytes, and we have 512 gigabytes to use. And maybe you've got a 2 terabyte, or you've got a 1 terabyte drive. You want to populate all of that. So we'll do that inside the shell, and we can change that. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do here is configure this so we can get our full space. And then what we'll do is we'll configure our 2 terabyte internal SSD on here as well for storage. So let's get this space back. So we're going to go to our data center right here, look at storage, and we can see local LVM. And what we're going to do is delete this. So let's go ahead and highlight this. So what we need to do is go to our storage area right here, highlight the LVM, and what we're going to do is click remove, say yes. And now what we can do is we're going to go and into the shell right here. So let's go ahead and go to get proxy, which is the one I used, go shell. And what we're going to do is open up the shell window, and we're going to type in some commands right here. So the first one we're going to do is this one right here. And once you've got that typed out, push enter, say Y for yes, press enter again. Now we're going to resize the drive right here, 100% free. There we go. And type that all out, push enter. And now one last command you need to do is this one right here, and push enter once that's done. And we should now have all of the space on our drive. As you can see, 593.95 gigabytes. That's give us all of our space back. So now we've got that done, what we can do is go to this location right here, go to disks. And what we're going to do is check, and you can see we've got our 2 terabyte drive here. The GPT is working, it says yes, but if it isn't, you can click the initial disk with GPT. And once we've got this done, what we want to do is go to directory, and what we're going to do is create a new directory. And we're going to leave that top one as is. Choose the file system of your choice. So I'm going to go ahead and select ext4 and give it a name. So let's just call it, say, for instance, storage. You can call it whatever you like. Now we can click on create, and this will then create that storage for us. You can see it's doing that right there. And once that's completed, we can now see we do have our storage right here. And we should have access to this 2 terabyte storage now. So we're going to go back to disks, and there you can see there is our drive right here, 2 terabytes. So now we need to upload an ISO. So I'm going to go ahead and select an ISO. I'll go ahead and choose, say, Zorin. You can choose whatever you like here. You can do whatever you like with your server. I'm just going to do this just to show you and upload this to our server. I'm going to put this on my local drive right here. Click upload, and this will upload the ISO. Once it's done, you'll see something looking like that. And now all we need to do right here now is go to our storage that we just created, our 2 terabyte. And what we're going to do is create a virtual machine. So let's leave that as is. I'm not going to spend too much time on configuring this, because you can spend as much time as you like configuring yours. Just going to get this up and running just to show you. But again, name, give it a name. Let's just call this Zorin OS, because that's what we're going to install on here. And from there, we can click next. OS, we need to select our ISO. So let's go ahead and select our ISO. It's on my local storage up the top above that. You can see it's set to local. That's where the ISO was. So from there, we've got Linux, and we've got version 6X, 2.6 kernel. That's fine. Graphics, you can change this up to whatever you like. I'm going to leave this default here. So let's go ahead and click on next again, and we'll move on to disks. And this is where you can choose your storage. So I'm going to put it onto the storage drive on disk storage, because that's what we just created. I'm not going to put that on local. and you can see that is our 2 terabyte drive right here. So that's fine. Format, leave that as is. You can change it to whatever you like if you're doing your stuff on your server. So let's go ahead and move on to the next stage here. And from here, we can choose the CPU. So you can see socket, cores, and so on. I'm not going to touch any of that stuff. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Click next. Memory, you can allocate some memory right here. I'm just going to leave that as is, just because this is not going to be kept afterwards. I'll remove it. And let's just leave the network as is. And we just confirm our settings. And there they are right there. And now that is completed. So what we need to do now is boot this up. So we can go ahead and install it. You can see it's created it right here. We can highlight this right here, click start. And this will then start this up and start to boot up to that ISO that we've just set it up to boot to. So once we've done this and push start, you might say, where has it gone? Well, we need to go over to the console right here and select that, and you'll see now it's starting to boot up right here. Once you've got all this done and it's all installed, I've already installed it onto the system. I've gone through all the installation process, and there we go. We've got Zorin OS installed onto Proxmox, onto that mini PC. Works perfectly fine. You can do Plex, do whatever you like on your little home server. Again, pretty cheap and affordable for something to mess around with if you're not familiar with this sort of stuff. Good for practicing and training and learning. You can also do loads of other things with Proxmox as well. If you want to see more stuff on this, let me know in the comments section down below. So what's the mini PC like? Well, for that sort of money, it's not too bad to have a mess around with. And remember, you don't need to install Proxmox on it. It does come with Windows 11 Pro. You can use this for just a normal PC if you wanted to. Again, some people complain about mini PCs. I think they're awesome little devices to have. And this one is definitely affordable for a lot of people. Anyway, but that said, my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members, whether you're tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3. I really do appreciate the support. I shall catch you in the next video. Have a lovely weekend, or I'll catch you on the Discord server for a chat. Bye for now.